They call it the happiest place on earth, and it turns 70 this July. But behind the magic, few American icons are surrounded by as many bizarre legends, conspiracies as Disneyland and the man who started it all. Why?
There's many urban myths.
Let me read you a few. Is there a protective dome around Disney World? Is Walt Disney's head or body in cryogenic storage? Did Walt Disney leave money in his will for the first man who gets pregnant? We're going to dig into the history of Disney and the roots of its long-lasting myth, and even find out which ones are true. Let me take you back to the early 20th century. The Disney brothers, Roy and Walt, changed cinema forever by making the first cartoon that had synchronized sound. And for the rest of the 1930s, a Disney cartoon won the Oscar every year. And the company was looking for new ways to grow.
Amusement parks exist before, but this idea of the theme park that we have now really does come from Disneyland. It really cements them as like this cultural behemoth. There's also immediately a massive fandom and also merchandise. The Disneyland television show, and then his name sort of becomes a brand.
Do you think it's a mixture of intense fandom, nostalgia, this figure of Walt, an enormous corporation? Do all of these things come together to make this a perfect breeding ground for any and all conspiracy theories?
And I mean, none of this is true, obviously, but I think it's just like speaks to this like mythical figure and the fact that he was always very interested in like technologies of the future. Also see Cold War ideology in the park is like, oh, tomorrow, and science fiction and all of this.
To put it into context, according to reporting by Forbes, the Walt Disney Company has more employees than there are people in the island nation of Samoa.
They own resorts all around the world. They now own Marvel and Star Wars and all of these other like intellectual properties. So it's this massive, massive thing. They own 2 Caribbean islands now. Those, I think, are the actual more interesting facts than wondering whether or not Walt was cryogenically frozen.
Have you heard the one about that the characters in the ride, It's a Small World, come to life at night?
I think that comes actually from the series of novels that are set in Disneyland. Obviously, they're puppets.
What about the one where no one can die at a Disney park?
I mean, that's just, how would that work?
Do you know of any conspiracy theories where there's evidence that they might actually be true?
I've heard that people do actually do this, is they scatter their loved ones' ashes at a haunted mansion. I don't know how common it is. It's probably exaggerated, but I do believe people would do this because people are very emotionally attached to the park. But obviously you're not allowed to scatter human remains. Journalists
at the Wall Street Journal reported it in 2018, and 2 former cleaners wrote a book about keeping the parks clean and mentioned it too. Do they control your mind through scent? Is there a colony of cats at Disneyland? The first one is partially true. Disney does use a system called the Smell-It-Sir to spread smell like fresh popcorn or pastries. And there is actually a colony of around 200 cats that live in the park, but they tend to come out only at night, because when M. Mouse is away, the Disneyland cats can play.